much for inviting me over here and giving me a little time to
Of course.
interview you.
Ikaw pa, Phil, syempre.
So thank you again. But I just want to ask you, where is my bloody question? That's not going to be a part of it, right? How is this project related to Dutertenomics or Duterte's economic program?
The things we're doing here in Clark, the airport that you see right there, they're all part of the President's Build, Build, Build program. Build, Build, Build is the infrastructure program that the President started in 2016 few months after he took office. And Build, Build, Build essentially is the cornerstone of the President's economic agenda because it is the most ambitious and biggest infrastructure program the country has ever seen in history. Now, the amount of money that's going to be poured into this program over the next, now it's a little over 3 years left. But from his term, from 2016 to 2022, the target is to spend 160 billion US dollars. That's about 8 trillion pesos in infrastructure.
In a matter of
6 years.
6 years.
That is the goal. But even if we just spend half of that, about 80 to 100 billion US dollars, or about 4 or 5 trillion pesos, is still by far going to be the biggest and most ambitious infrastructure program in our history. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because we need it badly. The main albatross of the Philippine economy, despite the strong growth we've been experiencing over the last couple of years, is infrastructure. We just don't have it. We don't have the kind of infrastructure that a growing economy needs to sustain its growth. When I talk about the kind of infrastructure, you travel a lot, Phil. You've been all over the world. You've been to Japan, you've been to Singapore, Malaysia, Europe, now China. And that's the infrastructure that we need for the economy to sustain this growth. And sadly, because of years of neglect and years of inaction of past governments, our infrastructure is one of the worst in the region. Airports, diba?
That's so true.
Roads. I mean, the reason why mass transit, we practically have none. Very little.
Farm to market.
Roads are old. They're narrow. And that's why on a daily basis, that translates to a very low and very difficult quality of life that people have to endure on a day-to-day basis, especially in urban centers like Metro Manila, where, you spend 3-4 hours in traffic a day probably. So that's all because of the lack of modern infrastructure, because of years of neglect. Now we're trying to catch up, and Build, Build, Build is meant to do that. So what we're doing here in BCDA for the properties that we have been made responsible for, Clark, John Hay, New Clark City, which is the new development we're building, the new city we're building in Tarlac, and other properties, is we are building the necessary infrastructure that will complement the entire network of infrastructure for the country. And the flagship will be Clark International Airport. Right there, we're building the new terminal. We started last year, and it should be operational by mid next year.
Next year,
Yeah.
year. Amazing.
So that's what we're trying to do. It's a small portion of the entire Build, Build, Build program. The leading agencies there will be the Department of Public Works and Highways, in charge of our roads, our bridges, and the Department of Transportation, in charge of all public transport.
Yes.
Yeah. So BCDA plays a small role in that.
You are at the heart of, I mean, on top of all of this BCDA management, but I don't think it's a small role that you're playing.
No,
Certainly not.
I mean, compared to the others, it's small.
Yeah, from that perspective,
Yeah.
perhaps. Well, I have another question. What is your biggest challenge in the BCDA?
Biggest
Project.
challenge, I guess, I mean, in any government agency, it's speed is the biggest challenge. Because not only do we desperately need these projects, we actually needed them years ago. I mean, to be honest.
Yesterday.
But we need to do them quickly because, frankly, the kind of life our people are forced to live because of the inadequacy of our infrastructure can't wait. I mean, it's every day that passes where people can't, have to spend 3 hours in traffic or can't get to work efficiently through mass transport or have to spend hours and hours of delays at the airport. I mean, it's heartbreaking to see that, and it drags the economy down. I mean, can you imagine? We're growing at 6%, 6.5% now. Can you just imagine what kind of growth we would be actually capable of if we had the kind of infrastructure
That's true.
that other countries already have? Like Thailand or Malaysia or Singapore or China, Japan, Korea. I mean, you can just imagine we would grow double digit easily. If we had that kind of infrastructure. I mean, if people didn't have to spend 4 hours or half part of their working day in traffic. I mean, it's that can't wait. So speed is the biggest challenge. Plus, of course, we have a president who just wants to get things done quickly, and he's shown the will to do it. But because of the nature of government and the bureaucracy, it's a challenge to move things fast. But we're trying our best to do it as fast as we can.
So are you able to work faster these days compared to the previous administration, perhaps?
Oh yeah, magayo naman. Magayo na. I mean, just looking at the projects that have started and have actually, some of them have even been completed already during the first half of the term of the president. I mean, it's already past a lot of the accomplishments, not just of the previous administration, but even of other administrations in the past. I mean, it's being done really as fast as we can possibly do it, but we hope we can do it even faster.
Amazing.
Like this just ground broke last year in early 2018, and we're already at 60%. So I mean, it'll be done next year.
Yeah.
It'll be done in a little over a year.
Wow,
So,
amazing.
and also I think how this government will be remembered when all is said and done, is not only the speed by which it implemented these projects, but also I think the quality of the projects. This will probably be the best airport in the country by far, and one of the best airports in the region.
Really?
It's comparable
our
to
neighbors?
To our neighbors.
That are-
It's really beautifully designed, and it will be run by the group that runs the best airport in the world, Changi of Singapore.
Really?
Yeah, so Changi, together with Philinvest Land and JG Summit, won the bid to operate and maintain this airport. And if you've got the operator of the best airport in the world running Clark International Airport, I think we're pretty safe to say it's going to be one of the best in the region.
So is that one of your strategies to bring in the right strategic
We have to.
partners?
We have to. I mean, I think
Develop
if there's
all of your
anything that we've
plans.
learned is that not only were we quite slow and late in building all the necessary infrastructure for a modern economy, in the past we really did a sloppy job. I mean, you just look at our public infrastructure, our roads, our trains they've never been. they haven't been maintained well,
True.
right? And that was, I think, a huge failure on the part of previous governments, and we're trying to correct that by bringing in the right partners that are going to run these infrastructure facilities well and maintain them well and make sure that they work. I mean, a lot of our infrastructure, frankly, they don't work pretty well. I mean,
Yeah.
like look at
I
MRT3 and
Exactly.
all those things. But and we're trying to fix that now because of the problems that were caused in the past. But it's hard to fix things that get broken. It takes time. So if we are able to
From the very
start
beginning.
from the very beginning with the right partners, the right groups that are gonna run these facilities, then we should be pretty safe for years to come.
Vince, I just saw the Palafox
Yeah.
team out there because I interviewed him a few weeks ago, and I
Yeah.
know he's an urban planner.
Yes.
And one of the better builders.
One of the best.
here.
Yeah, one of the best.
So he's also pretty much involved.
Yes,
in the
he
development.
did our remaster plan for the Clark economic zone, the Freeport and the airport. And we're very happy with the master plan that we got from him. And right now we're in the process of implementing the master plan with his guidance. So we're very happy that we have a partner like architect June Palafox, who's done Dubai, did
Yeah.
so many other projects over the world.
How will all of these developments benefit the life of the ordinary Filipino?
Like I said, infrastructure is a critical ingredient, not just to a modern economy, especially one that is just beginning its upsurge, like the Philippines. No? But more importantly, public infrastructure to us in the Duterte administration is like education. It's a great equalizer. Public infrastructure, whether you're rich, poor, young, and old, if you have good public infrastructure, it benefits everyone, regardless of social status, regardless of, if you've got mass transport, whether you're rich, you're poor, young, old, it doesn't matter. All of that is available and can be used. But if you have bad infrastructure, then you further widen that divide between rich and poor, because obviously the rich can afford nice, comfortable cars, so it's okay to stay in traffic for a couple of hours. You're in your nice, comfortable van. But if you're a worker, a call center agent, riding the public bus or the jeepney, then it's a totally different story, right?
It's so true.
Right? The mayor of Bogota put it so well. He said that the measure of development is not how many people own cars. The real measure of development is how many rich people take public transportation. And I think that's so true.
Like Japan.
Japan, Hong Kong,
Japan's economy. So.
Europe.
Europe, Netherlands.
I mean, you've got, tycoons of industry, taking the subway,
Yeah.
right?
Transportation.
That is the true measure, I think. That's a better measure of true development and very inclusive development.
True.
So it's so important, Phil. And it's, unfortunately,
Hey, but we.
wala pa tayo. So hopefully, this is just the beginning. By the way,
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to finish all of these in 6 years or in the remaining 3.5 years. 3 years, no? I mean, it's going to take a couple of more years, couple of more presidents. So we hope we can start it, build enough momentum with build, and the next governments will continue it because we desperately need it.
Interesting. I have just 2 more questions, but one of them is, as we close this short chat, what is your message to the Filipinos?
I think, first of all, we want to thank everybody for supporting the president. Despite all the criticisms against him, he is probably one of, if not the most loved, and I don't like to use the word popular because popularity is fleeting, but I think what more aptly describes the feelings of the vast majority of Filipinos towards the president is really love. They really love him because they know that his heart is for them. Regardless of whatever, some of the critics say, the majority, 85% in the latest surveys, or 85% in the latest surveys, show that the Filipinos approve of what the president's doing, and a vast majority really love him because he's true. He doesn't, in fact, sometimes some people say he's too honest. He's too honest, especially with his words.
Perhaps at the end of the day.
But that's what people want from their leader. They're sick and tired of the usual politicians who just say anything, even if they don't really mean it.
He's the president of the people.
Definitely president of the people, but I think the most important thing is he's just being true to himself, and when people see that, they believe in him. They believe that when he says he's going to do this, he's really going to do it. And he's doing it for them. He's not doing it for himself, or he's not doing it for his friends or his benefactors, whatever. He's doing it for the majority. And we want to, on behalf of everybody in this government, we want to thank the people for believing in him, for trusting in him, and we hope that in this second half of his term, they will continue to support him, because believe us when we say that all the president is doing, some may disagree with what he does or how he does things, but one thing is for sure, he's doing it for the majority. He's doing it to make the life of the majority of Filipinos better. And build, all of these things is a very concrete example of that, of the president's commitment and dedication and love for as you said, the ordinary or the common Filipino.
Amazing. Well, Vince, just on a personal note, what is your management leadership style? Since you're
it's the
on
hardest
top of
question
all of
today.
This, BCDA.
No, to me, I think, I don't know if you call it style. I'm a very impatient person. It's good and bad, but in this case, I think it's good because it just helps me push myself and push the organization forward. I'm not the type of guy to just talk his way through this 6 years where we've been given this chance to serve with the president. We just want to get things done and get things done quickly. And I think this past 3 years we've been able to do that. But we want to do more, and we want to do things faster in the second half. So I guess, I don't know if you call that style, but I just try to push everyone to get things done.
Well, that's amazing. At the end of the day, we need somebody, a leader that can really make a difference. And like you said, the urgency is there.
The urgency is there.
We have to really move
Yeah.
and make things happen. Another question, Vince. How do you keep your sanity at the midst of all of this?
That's a great. Well, of course, family is the, is always our fallback field. Diba? I mean, so my wife and my daughter, we moved to Clark about a little over a year ago, and I think it was the best move for us as a family. Because I first of all, walang traffic dito. So, when I'm done with work, I don't have to wait 2 hours to get home.
Yeah.
I'm home in like
Which
10
is
minutes.
stressful altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one thing. But family is always your source of comfort for everyone. So when you're stressed, seeing your daughter, seeing your wife, spending time with your family, more quality time with your families. But apart from that, just the lifestyle here in Clark has really changed the way we live. Philip, I bike to work, for example.
Amazing.
I take my bike to work. it's 12
Here,
kilometers
here,
one
wow.
way here. Yeah, 12 kilometers one way. So I bike about 24 kilometers every day.
The environment is there for you to be able to
I can do that
conducively do
because
that.
we have dedicated bike lanes. We have, you feel safe. The roads are wide. The city's been planned for pedestrians and bikers. Here for some reason, motorists follow rules here, so it's good. So you feel safe. I wouldn't bike in Metro Manila, by the way. I mean, you wouldn't catch me biking there. But here I bike, and just the outdoors, and you see. Just look at my view from my daily view from the office. This is the west. These are the western Sacobia Mountains, so I get the sunset here every afternoon. So just having this, environment helps me keep my sanity amidst stress and the pressure.
It's certainly conducive
Very.
to de-stress yourself.
Very.
Sort of like almost like
And plus, we're Kapampangan, and we have the best food in the country, so that's another de-stressor. Oh.
certainly have the right cuisine,
Yeah.
and enjoy dining with family.
Yeah,
and
with
friends.
family and friends. Yeah.
I have one more last question. I hope
problem.
You don't mind that.
No problem.
How do you manage to attain a work-life balance altogether? I suppose it's just reiterating what you
Yeah,
said.
I think it's hard to have work-life balance in a city like Metro Manila. It's very hard. It's stress every minute of the day, practically. From the moment you step out of your house, the stress begins with the traffic, with the, not knowing what time you're gonna get to your appointment. And then of course the work with build, and with the things that we have to get done quickly, and then not having that quality. I really feel bad for most Filipino families who live in cities like Metro Manila because, you work, you wake up 4 a.m., you leave, you get to work, you're stressed, you're all sweaty, you get to work, you spend another 3-4 hours in traffic, getting home. When you're home, your daughter or your son is asleep. You can't even spend some quality time with them. Your wife's tired. So, it's
Your
hard.
productivity,
Your productivity just drops like
The
anything,
quality of your-
And plus, like you said, work-life balance. In Metro Manila, it's I would say it's practically non-existent. It's so hard to have it.
So certainly,
But here we're trying to build something that shows everybody that, hey, kaya naman pala ng Pilipinong, we can build a city that does not have the usual stresses associated with big cities. As long as we plan it well and we don't overbuild, then we can do it. And that's the dream for Clark. And we hope we can keep it this way, and we hope future governments, future people who will be sitting in my chair will continue this, and will make sure that this vision is protected.
I was just told by one of your staff that you've created that work environment where they also have time to do sports,
Yeah,
de-stress themselves,
Absolutely.
and become more productive.
I think
So do you want to touch on that?
we need to do that. The stress in BCDA and in a lot of the agencies involved in build is tremendous. There's so much pressure, and then it's thankless because, problem in government is you're already trying to do your best, you're building all these things, but,
The critique.
the critics will still criticize, and they'll throw stuff at you in the media and all of that. So it's hard. So you really need that. You need that way to distress and find other things to do apart from just grinding away at the work.
Well, I'm glad that being at the helm, we have that kind of leadership here.
Thank you,
I'm
thank
sure
you, Phil.
you would certainly.
But I'm also very lucky because we've got, outstanding people here in BCDA. People who've been here for 10, 15, 20 years, who've been so dedicated and worked so hard over the last decades.
You do need the right team.
Yeah, you do need. You can't do it alone. You gotta.
Certainly.
So we're lucky. We're lucky, but still a lot of work to be done. We gotta finish this airport, and we'll invite you when this is done. You'll see,
certainly.
how beautiful it's gonna be and how well run it's gonna be.
Okay. Again, like I said, you make our family proud.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us a little time.
Thanks,
Okay?
boss. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll see you again here at as we share with you insights of personalities who walk their talk.
VitaClear is a comprehensive supplement with 10 nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, plus lutein and zeaxanthin. Save your eyes. Take VitaClear. It's vital for clear eyes.